shocking, surprising, upset. These are the words that have been synonymous with the Indiana Pacers playoff run. This is a team that no one expected to be one win away from the NBA Finals, but it gets to a point where you have to realize this shouldn't be a shock anymore. The Indiana Pacers are just that good, and more importantly, their two best players, they deliver every single time you need them to. And just hours after Stephen A. Smith said Tyrese Halliburton wasn't a superstar, Tyrese Halliburton had one of the best performances you could ever see from a point guard, going off for 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 15 assists, becoming just the third player in playoff history to have a 30 and 15 game. Oh, he did it whilst not turning the ball over once. I don't care what Stephen A. Smith thinks, and I don't really care what label you want to give Tyrese Halliburton. All I know is this is someone who has stepped up every single time the Pacers have needed him throughout these entire playoffs. And with their biggest game of the season so far, he was the best player on the floor, and it wasn't particularly close. And as always, what really stood out was his ability to push the pace. Obviously, Tyrese can do it all as a passer. We've seen the no-look passes, well, whatever you want to call them. We know he can break down the defense in the half court and consistently create advantages. I mean, just look at a play like this, where he gets the screen from Turner, Cat steps up, Bridges then gets back in the picture, and look at the ability to jump over the top of both of them and then thread the needle to Turner for an easy dunk. But he is most devastating when he is getting the ball off missed shots or turnovers and just consistently finding his teammates for good looks. Just like here off the Brunson miss. Look at him fly in for the rebound and watch his head the entire time, scanning the floor. And just as he sees the lane open up for Naismith, he whips a pass cross-court to him in stride to get to the rim for the dunk. Or this time off a turnover, again he gets the ball, and it's that speed to get past McBride, and then Brunson has a decision to make. He commits to Hallie, so he drops it off to Obi for the dunk. It is just the consistent ability to make the right play, to create open looks and open opportunities for his teammates. Sometimes it looks simple, and in the past people have criticized him for maybe only making quote-unquote easy plays, but when you make the right play, as simple as it looks, every single time over the course of an 82-game season and then over the course of the playoffs, well, you start to see why the Indiana Pacers have been in the Eastern Conference Finals in back-to-back seasons. And another reason they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals in back-to-back seasons is because of Pascal Siakam, who I always thought was a good player, but with the amount of players in the modern NBA who can give you 20 points a game, sometimes it can be hard to determine what makes a guy like Pascal Siakam better than a guy like Brandon Ingram. Obviously, we're not going to get into that right now, but all you need to know is the Indiana Pacers aren't in this position without Pascal. And instead of waiting like people thought they might do for the development of guys like Benedict Mathurin and Jarris Walker alongside Tyrese Halliburton, Indy took a swing. And that is what winning is about in small markets. When the opportunity is there, you take it and run with it. And whilst I think most people thought it was a good trade, I don't think anyone could have predicted how seamless, how fantastic, how perfect Pascal Siakam would be on this team, to the point where they have gone to the conference finals in back-to-back years and are one game away from the NBA Finals, in large part due to these two guys. And if there is one thing that he has clearly brought Indiana alongside his incredible skill set, it has been his leadership and championship experience.
And can't get too happy, not too high with the highs, not too low with the lows, and that's been my speech all season, and I'm just gonna keep going. And the reception that I've had, and the guys listening to me, my leadership, and they're just willing to receive it, and it's been such a blessing, and I'm just happy, to help.
That's what you get from a guy who has been there and won at the highest level. But you know what's so special about this Pacers team? We can highlight what Tyrese did in this game, having a historic performance. We can talk about Pascal going off for 30 points after scoring 39 in a huge Game 2 win, but you can't mention this Pacers team without mentioning the other guys. The reason this team is so special, and why it should be clear that they really are just that good, is in addition to having an all-NBA duo, they have depth. Serious depth. Just look at Game 3 for example, and I know they didn't win Game 3, but at halftime the Pacers were up by 13 points, and they had one player who had scored in double digits. Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton? No, it wasn't those two. Nor was it anyone in the starting lineup. It was TJ McConnell. And actually, this is a perfect time to just talk about TJ McConnell, because he just deserves it. And if you were to look at his playoff numbers this year, you might see the 9 points and 4 assists a game and think, that's solid. Well, he's doing that in 16 minutes a night. Per 36 minutes, TJ McConnell is averaging 20 and 9 a game. I know he's not playing 36 minutes, but he's shooting 54% from the floor. And this is just who he has been since joining Indiana. The numbers will never showcase just how dynamic TJ is and just how fun it is to watch him cook. I mean, just look at him here against Alon Wright, a good defender. He rejects the Nemhard screen, and it's that crossover going at full speed before then spinning and fading. The difficulty of that shot, I can't even fathom it. And this is just what makes him special. The quickness, the ability to find angles that don't seem there, to consistently get to his spot, despite everyone knowing TJ McConnell wants to score within that 4 to 15 feet range. He still gets to it every single time because he's quicker, he's smarter, he's shiftier than every defender you can put in front of him. And then there's the more regular plays from TJ where he gets the screen from Turner, and whether Cat wants to step up or stay in drop coverage, TJ is going to get that shot off, and more often than not, when he gets that shot, it's going in, evidenced by the 54% from the field whilst taking mid-range shots all game long. And what makes this Pacers team so fun to watch, and their superpower, is you can go through the entire roster and highlight players in both the starting lineup and off the bench. How about Obi Toppin, who is also averaging 8 points in 16 minutes off the bench and had a couple of huge plays in that Game 1 comeback against the Knicks, or in Game 4, where after Miles Turner fouled out, it was Obi who hit the dagger against his former team. Or how about Benedict Mathurin, who went off for 20 points in 12 minutes. That is 20 points in a quarter worth of basketball from a bench player who had been struggling prior to that game. This is what a championship caliber team looks like. You have two guys who you know will deliver night in, night out. Outside of that, it could be anyone, and I don't mean that in a negative way, that is a positive. We obviously can't forget that Indiana wouldn't even be in this position if Aaron Nesmith didn't have one of the greatest shooting performances in playoff history in the fourth quarter of Game 1. They also wouldn't be in this position if Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nemhard weren't consistently elite perimeter defenders to go along with consistent three-point shooting, and in the case of Andrew Nemhard, a blend of pull-up shot making and playmaking that any team would be lucky to have as their third option. Tyrese Halliburton will steal the show. Pascal Siakam might get some credit, but this team is so great from top to bottom, including the coach Rick Carlisle, and that is why they are likely on their way to the NBA Finals. And it is no longer a shock. This is just who they are.